Okay. Hi, it's the start of yoga, lung love, and slow flow with Beth. So, welcome everyone. Let's start by taking a nice, comfortable seat. I'm going to take my glasses off now. And I don't know if you had a chance to hear Rick Hansen on Forum this week. But he's the author of Buddha's Brain and other books, and he's a co-founder of Spirit Rock, and very, very helpful, I think. I really enjoy his talks and his books. And he talks about finding the green zone, even just with 3 deep breaths. To become aware of the glow, the bloom inside your heart. And he also talks about cutting the lizard of the brain, the lizard part of your brain, the reptilian part of the brain that really feels 2 things with very negative, unpleasant stimuli. It either feels fear or anger. So we cut that reptilian part of the brain, cut the lizard, because we know it's there. We want to kind of move deeper than just that lizard part of the brain. We want to acknowledge it, but then what else is there? And then feed the mouse, right? And feeding the mouse is that still small part of yourself that maybe hides and needs a little encouragement to come out. Feed the mouse with something you find beautiful. So let's do that, right? Acknowledge and then cut the lizard. Acknowledge and then feed the mouse. And then finally embrace the monkey. We meditate not because we don't have monkey mind, but we meditate because we do have monkey mind, right? The monkey mind, it's just a function of being human, really, that we have that. And we want to speak kindly to it. Cut the lizard, feed the mouse, embrace the monkey. And so the language around that could be, you poor monkey, I will acknowledge you and allow you to be active later. I understand you're part of me. I'd like you to go sit in the corner and be quiet right now because I have other things to do, which is to cut the lizard, feed the mouse, embrace the monkey, breathe deep. And begin to soften the forehead, to soften the back of the throat. Sorry about that. Wow. Let's go ahead and just turn the chin one way and then the other. Exploring the range of motion in the neck, swiveling slowly. Then we'll roll the shoulders. Okay, so yeah, life is pretty difficult for all of us going through this, and for some of us, it's more difficult than others. So we want to acknowledge how the suffering of others does affect us. It really does. You know, the question, how can we have a sense of well-being when so many people are suffering? That is a really deep question. So can we extend some healing to ourselves, and then maybe when we feel some healing within ourselves, we can extend some healing towards others. Okay, so this is Lung Love and Slow Flow. I'm a little bit affected by that police action in my backyard, because that is just the first time I've ever heard that. And I feel like, you know, that might be something that becomes more common, you know. So, okay, let's move on. Let's go into cat cow, and then we're going to do a dozen of those with some variations. Okay, good. So we want to set our arms so that the tops of our shoulders are rolled away from the tips of our ears. Set our knees right underneath the hips, fingers nice and wide, and we'll begin. Exhale. If this feels good, just the way it is, you may continue. If you would like to take your fingers out to the sides, so I'm putting my fingers out to the sides, and then I'm going to notice how my arms are inside my shoulder sockets. So I'm going to, again, plug into the power, and then do another cat-cow. All right. Now I'm going to take my fingers and point them back towards my knees. So different arm version. And again, notice if you're stretching out, and then you can plug more into the power and do a cat-cow this way. Okay, big stretch here in the inner forearm. Okay, good. And then I'm going to come and put my fingers back, pointing towards the front of my mat. For our last variation, I'm going to lift my knees just an inch off the floor. And cat and cow. And then downward facing dog. We're going to take a dozen breaths in our downward facing dog. You're just going to say, okay, good. So again, take the tops of your shoulders and roll them away from your ears and ground down in the thumb and forefinger, even on the pinky side. Feel your fingers, the knuckles of your fingers. And then we're going to reach back. Now, bending knees is fine, right? Let's all bend our knees. And then if you feel nice and long in your spine and you're rolling your shoulders away, kind of demonstrating that now. We can be squeezed up here, but we can choose to roll away, and that's preferable. And then maybe if your hamstrings are open, you can start to reach your heels towards the floor. And the legs are shoulder width distance apart, or maybe even a little greater. Let's let the head dangle. I'm just gonna let my head be a little bit of a bobblehead right now. Really strong in my shoulders, rolling away. There's a lot going on there in the arms. Let's take another 3 deep cleansing breaths. Good. Now I do like to fire up my practice in the very beginning by coming into plank. So again, we're going to come into plank. We'll not be here too long, but what we want to do is feel nice and lifted in the heart and belly on the same line. Fingers nice and wide. Let's go ahead and be here for 3 deep breaths. So I'm not clenching my teeth. I'm not squeezing in my shoulders. I'm rolling them away. Yeah, good. Let's come back to downward facing dog. We're going to start to walk our hands towards the feet. Uttanasana. Okay, let's bend our knees a little bit and tip the pelvis up. Nice. Maybe you can even take your fingers on the sides of your feet here. Again, let's bobble the head a little bit. Good. We're going to take our fingers forward underneath our shoulders as we come into a flat back. Okay, good. And then as we exhale, let's lift and spread our toes. Look forward. We're going to take a lion's breath and fold. Inhale, fingertips flat back. Lion's breath and fold. Last one. Let's bend our knees and roll up. Good. And we're going to take our arms up all the way and palms together. Okay, good. Let's take our feet all the way together. And we're going to do standing crescent moon. So let's take the big toes firmly together and the heels an inch apart. Now, standing in Tadasana, let's feel the posture. So I want to soften the back of the knees, inner spiral, inner thighs, strong in your inner thighs, the bowl of your pelvis, not tipped, right? See? Not tucking and not sticking out, just nice and firm. We're going to turn our arms, externally rotate the arm bones inside your shoulder sockets, palms facing forward. Maybe you can close your eyes, feel your balance. Mountain pose. Good. Let's take our fingers wide and start to rise up with our arms. And we'll entwine our fingers, and here we go. Over to one side. Oh, feels good. Let's hang out here for 3 breaths. Inhale. Up and over to the other side. Inhale, side bodies, feeling really, they getting into the quadratus lumborum, the QL muscles on either side of the lumbar spine. Let's go one more into that. Let's take our knees bent. We're going to take one foot behind the other one. Keep your knees bent. Put your hand on one hip. We're going to come up and over. Let's look at the floor. Lengthen the side body. Reach that outstretched arm, fingertips reaching. Nice. Feeling good. Bend your knees. Up. Other side. Keep knees bent. Up and over. Look at the floor. Stretch side body. Let's reach up. Okay, good. Okay, now palms together. We're going to take our right toes out to the side. Well, whatever toes, one side and then the other. Step forward with your other leg. Good. So we're in a warrior one, but we're going to make it into a high lunge. So we're going to lift the back heel. Hands on the hips. Good. Arms up. Entwine fingers. Bend that front knee, feel strong in your back leg, good. Open, cactus arms. 2 more. So the lung love is the inhale followed by a complete exhale. Inhale, exhale. This time we're gonna float our fingers all the way down and come into low lunge. Let's take our hand nearest the inner part of the foot down. We're gonna, you can bend you can let your knee come to the floor here, right? If that feels, this is where we're going, revolve Parsvottanasana. But if you want to keep your leg up and turn and twist, right? Open. Soft and passive face. Deep, full breaths. Let's take a little look-see that our knee is still right over that ankle. Nice. And we'll lower down. Okay, good job. We're going to step into downward facing dog. I'm going to squeeze my shoulders towards my ears and then roll them away. Wow, what a difference, right? And then rounding down, thumb and forefinger, reaching back, heels and tailbone lifted. Exhale into plank. Good. Let's pause here for 3. Now, one thing I like to do is kind of like tip towards and back, feel strong here. And also that you have choices. Refine where your hands are, nice wide fingers. One more breath. And then we'll set the knees down. Keep elbows go straight back. Half chaturanga, inhale, cobra. Oh boy, kind of off the screen here, that's okay. Let's go ahead and press the tops of our feet down into the floor. All 10 of our toenails reaching towards the floor. Really feel that lift in your back. Take your hands off the floor. Let's let our hands come to the floor. Lift up a little bit. And we're going to come back to downward facing dog. Good job. Make a noise. Start to walk your hands back towards your feet. And again, it's going to be 3 of Uttanasana into Ardha Uttanasana. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, fingertips flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, fingertips. Now, if you can do this with straight legs, right? That means your hamstrings are already pretty open. It's okay to bend your knees. It's really going to be preferable. And we're going to roll up. All right, you want the stretch in your spine. Lengthen your spine. Lengthen your hamstrings too, but not to a, the length in your hamstrings cannot come at expense of the low back, okay? So let's go ahead and take our other foot out to the side, and we're going to step forward. So we're coming into the lunge on the other side. Front knee's bent, knee over, ankle. Lift up the back leg, the back heel rather, and we're going to come into lunge on this side, high lunge, good. And here we go, 3 breaths, lifting up hands, cactus arms. Make your pose a living, breathing thing. See if you can practice this with your eyes closed. We're going to do one more. And then on that exhale, I like to think of these as falling leaves down into low lunge. So there's a lot of gifts in this pose right here The back leg can bend and then straighten. Front knee over ankle. The thumb of your supporting hand is 5 or 6 inches from the inner arch, that front foot. And then we open up. Now remember, you can always come down and do it this way, right? See if it feels good, right? Feed the mouse with feelings of contentment, acknowledging you have good feelings, right? About the blessings that you do have in your life. We're gonna step back to downward facing dog. Woo! Right? Hang out here for a moment. Again, squeeze shoulders towards each other to feel that, and then roll them away with ears. Feel strength in the inner arms. And then we're going to exhale into plank. Again, 3 deep breaths. Notice if your head is drooping, right? See how that changes everything? We want to really sprout the crown of the head towards the front. Inner thighs working like crazy. Good. Now we'll let our knees drop and keep the integrity of the pose as we lower down, scoop through cobra. Good. And then let's move into a child's pose. I want to do a little bit more of a side stretch. Those feel so good, especially if you've been sitting a lot. You're gonna walk your hands over to one side, take that inner arm and see if you can cross over that outer wrist, hunker down and take a couple of cleansing breaths. And let's gently come back to center, right? Feel the tailbone kind of nestle into your heels. That's available, that your knees are without any sort of pathology. That's great. Again, I'm taking my inner arm and I'm crossing it over if I can, that outer wrist. All right, good job. Let's go ahead and come back to center. Come up to hands and knees. We're gonna tuck our toes under, right? Are the elbows are here? Make sure that you set yourself up for a good downward facing dog by having the eyes of your elbows face each other and then hug in the energy to the shoulder blades. Feel your arms, feel this whole part really engage in the shoulder blades. And then here you go. Whoosh. Should feel good. Let's take about a dozen breaths here and try some different things with your mouth. Take your lips like a purse string, like a drawstring purse. Pull them up. Pull your face like your whole face like a drawstring purse. Squeeze, 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 and then just let it relax. Try that again 2 more times. Good. Now let's bring the ears right between the biceps. We're going to pull the belly up in towards the spine and really lengthen the tailbone. Good. Let's sway a little bit from side to side, just moving through some different variations while we're in a downward facing dog for about a dozen breaths. Good. Now, if your knees are bent, that's okay. If your heels are reaching towards the floor, it's not at the expense of your low back. You're lengthening your whole spine. Let's pedal out the jog. So bend one knee. Now you can really get into a nice calf stretch. And switch. And switch. And switch. And both heels reaching down. Good. We're going to look towards the front of the mat. We're going to take a little meditative walk to the front of the mat. Good. Fingertips on the floor. Let's let the head completely drop. One more little shaking the head now. Nodding the head, yes. Bend the knees and roll up. Good. Let's take our arms up and palms together. Okay, good. We're going to come to the front of the mat, and then we'll take one leg back, okay? So it's going to be one leg and then the other. It really doesn't matter. But now we're going to move into warrior two. So knees over the ankle. We're going to go ahead and open up the arms and exhale. Good. So let's lift and spread all our toes. You want to see that back toe lift and then anchor down that outer edge of the back foot. The knee doesn't migrate in or out, stays very firm. Arms are open. The next pose we're going to do is Parsvottanasana. So we're going to take our elbow down and bring it up and over. So let's just think of this, right? Leaning, coming into diagonal without facing downward. Right? Good. Now, you could stay here, take about 6 breaths, or you could shoot your bottom arm parallel to the top arm, and let's be here. Is the outer edge of your back foot still anchored into the floor? Can you feel the arches of both feet tugging up with energy and lift? We'll stay in the pose for a couple more breaths. Feeling a nice spiraling from the hips. Here we go. Back to warrior two. Let's straighten the front leg, hands on hips, parallel the feet. Prasarita, Padottanasana, wide-legged forward bend, hands to the floor. Nice. Okay, let's just go ahead and walk our hands so the back of our hands is on the floor. Let our head drop. Big hamstring stretch, protect the back of the knees. The skin here is soft. It's not taut and hard. Okay, so feel free to bend your knees. Let's take our fingertips underneath the shoulders. We're gonna walk back to the front of the mat, step back into downward facing dog. Take a breath. Exhale into plank. How about knees down, half chaturanga. Inhale, cobra, right? Or should we go into upward facing dog? Right. Tops of the feet, palms on the floor. And we'll roll to the back. Good. We're going to again take a little meditative walk to the front of the mat. And release the head, bend the knees, and roll ourselves up. And arms come up, palms come together. Let's take a step back with our other foot. So we're going to come into warrior two. Let's set up knee over ankle, back leg strong. Let's lift and spread our toes. Open up. Here we are. Good. Maybe you can close your eyes in the pose. Roll the shoulders back. Feel the pelvis is not tucking or dumping, right? The bowl of your pelvis. Firm the core. Open wide. Feel strong. Feel lifted. Grounded. And yet expanding. Good. Maybe you can bend that front knee a little bit more, but make sure it's not migrating out to the side or it's staying really strong. Inner thighs, super alive here. Back leg, pressing back, good. Harsvokhanasana. Let's come into a preparation, really. It's fine to stay here. You're getting a lot of stretch. You don't want to turn towards the floor. We want to be like we're between two planes of glass. Good. And then decide, both arms, 6 breaths. Maybe close your eyes. For the last couple of breaths, we'll come back into the pose that got us there, using the elbow, opening up that side body. Oh, feels good, right? It's all about how are you feeling, right? And then as you transition down, lunge, downward facing dog. Good. Exhale, plank, knees down or full chaturanga. Cobra, upward facing dog. Good. Back to downward facing dog. We're going to set our knees down for a moment and prepare to come into a shoulder stretch. So back to hands and knees, but this time your knees are really wide. Let's take one hand right into the center so that it makes almost like a triangle, right? So the knees, the two knees, and then the hand. We're going to sweep that other arm up and thread it through into shoulder. I'm going to take my other fingertips. I'm going to stay up on top and so you're on one shoulder, the other foot, I like to have the leg nice and strong, toes stay in the floor, good. Does it feel good? Chin is in the chest, and then gently roll out of it. And let's come into a child's pose. Up to hands and knees. Knees are wide. Other hand in the center. Sweep it up. Good. Thread it through. Lay it down. Tuck the toes. And straighten that leg. Oh, feels good, right? Chin is safely tucked into the chest. It's the back of the skull that's on the floor. The neck is not strained or forced in any way. It's really opening right between the shoulder blades. Belly is firm and lifted in towards the spine. And we gently roll back. And we'll come to hands and knees. Good job. Let's come into downward facing dog again. Let's walk our hands towards the feet. And bend the knees and rolling up. Good. Arms come up. And palms come together. Okay, good. We're going to come into Warrior Two and then Half Moon Pose, otherwise known as Ardha Chandrasana. So I'm going to take one of my back feet and I'm going to turn it towards the side of my mat, but not completely. And then see if you can lift up your leg, right? See if you can lift it up, prepare the foot, and we're going to step to the front of the mat. Good, warrior two. Let's come up into flying warrior. Straight arms, straight legs, come back into warrior two. Now, take the elbow down and then look at the floor. So sometimes we use a block for this, right? Otherwise, we reach our fingertips towards the floor. Keep your hand on your hip. So you're really between two planes of imaginary glass in your body. So you're not going to let this droop. You're going to stay nice and firm. Side bodies, that's why we really stretch and access those side bodies, right? Look down. And then it is a little bit of a leap of faith, right? Like, where am I going? I'm going to put all that weight on the front foot. Woo! Lift off. Fingertips come to the floor. Good. So this foot is super active, right? Super, super active. You know some advanced variations, go ahead and you feel warmed up. You can do those now. Otherwise, just focus on the feeling of being between two planes of glass. Let's let that top arm come down and we're going to prepare a nice soft landing into a lunge. Good. Let's do a straight leg lunge. Straightening the front leg. Put your thumb into that hip crease of your front leg. Draw it back. Stay up nice and high. Nice. Okay. So we're going to bend our front knee and step back in a downward facing dog. Let's walk our hands back to the feet. So that leg that was just forward is going to stay back. Bend your knees, roll up. Bring it out to the side. Good. And then put the weight. See, it's a lot about shifting your weight. And then draw that other leg up. Prepare it. And then, yes, we have to sometimes we have to shift, right? Warrior two. Nice. Let's bring our elbow down just so we can kind of look at the floor. We're coming back to Parsvottanasana, feeling open to the side. And then putting all that weight into the front leg. Come on down. Establish where you are. And then turn. Open. Top arm comes down to the floor. Prepare that back foot for a nice soft landing into a lunge. We're gonna do again the straight leg lunge. Dragging back that front hip. Let's bend the front knee. Step back, downward facing dog. Exhale into plank. We're gonna do side plank now. One knee comes down, open up. So it's a lot about the side. You can take that top foot up, you can leave it down, right? See if you can gaze towards the top thumb. Really feel like you're lifting up off that supporting hand. Good. See if we can just go ahead and reach, right? For the foot, open up, feels like it's a nice stretch on the quadricep, strong. And then let's go ahead and come back. Downward facing dog. A great equalizer pose. Exhale into plank. And then we're going to take the other knee down, open up into side plank. Top leg can come up if you like. You can also do the whole pose right here. And then we prepare to match up and then grow in that pose. Foot stays active. Okay, let's go ahead and open and come back to downward facing dog. Okay, nice. Go ahead and come into plank. So the next pose we're going to do is Shalabhasana, locust pose. Oh boy. So it looks like I'm kind of off the screen here. So prepare for Shalabhasana. I'm going to come bring that down here. Okay, good. Nice. Let's bring our chin to the floor. All right, I want you to kind of feel like you're ironing out your back a little bit. So if you're feeling congested here, let's put the back of our hands, just give ourselves a little back, a little rub, okay, with the knuckles. So when you do lift up, that's what you want to feel. So those muscles, right? Shoot your fingers back, bring your head into alignment. Now we're gonna let the legs come up. We're gonna spread the toes, turn the tops of the feet so they're facing the floor. Let's be here for 6 breaths. Lung love. Exhale completely. Inhale. How about one more big breath? Entwine your fingers behind. Wow, come into a fuller expression. And we'll release and turn our head and rest. Lift head carefully up and turn your head and rest. Notice if there's an ease to which you turn your head one way and then the other. Just notice this, the ease and maybe the inhibition inside your body. So generally speaking, the side that feels more restricted, we want to practice that twice in our home practice. Good. Now we're going to start with the belly, draw it in, lift our head. Let's come into Sphinx pose. And elbows underneath the shoulders. Good. Take a couple of deep breaths here. From the Sphinx pose, we're going to come into triple diamond. So the thumb and forefingers come together, elbows go wide, forehead comes to the floor, and we take the soles of our feet together without forcing anything. The soles of the feet together are up in the floor, up in the air. All right, good job. Okay, good. Let's lift our head. We're going to walk our knees towards, so they're about a block width apart. And we're going to come into half Dhanurasana. Let's lengthen one leg down. I'll do this one first. Okay. So that leg is going to stay strong and planted. We're going to reach for our foot like we kind of did before, and then we're going to lift up and see if you can shoot your arm forward. Let's try other side. So come back to center. Let's actually come back to Sphinx for a moment. Fill up the back body. You can always use the strap if you're, or grab the hem of your pants if you're having a hard time connecting your hand to your foot. That'll just come in time, right? So if you find yourself like this, right, do it, exaggerate it, and then bring it back to where you want to be, right? Shoulders plugged into the arm bones, plugged into the shoulders, and then the shoulders supported by the shoulder blades, and the muscles sucking in and up, supporting the muscular, the skeletal, so supporting your bones, right? The muscles sucking in and supporting the bones of your back, supporting your spine, right? Let's try other side. Forehead to the back of the hand. Bend the other knee. Lengthen and firm the straight leg. Reach for that foot. And then come on up. Now the other arm reaches forward. And then let's gently come back to center. So you probably guess what's coming next, right? Dhanurasana, but let's just kind of waggle our hips back and forth. Right? Forehead to the floor. Take a moment to feel and breathe. I mean, is that in your practice to do constantly throughout the day? Constantly throughout the day, to just feel and breathe, just for a moment here and there. Okay, good. Now we're going to start by drawing the belly in, bending both knees. Watch out for your knees going wide. Try to keep your knees firm. They're not touching, but they're just a few inches apart. It's really about taking your arms and lifting up right there. And then if your feet and hands meet, Dhanurasana. If you're in Dhanurasana, I want you to rock. Back bends are very invigorating. Come to stillness. Lift up your feet. Let's bend our elbows a little bit. Nice. And let's push back up to downward facing dog. Invigorating our spines and our breath with these back bends. Okay, good. Let's look forward and see if we can just jump lightly into a cross-legged position. All right, good. I'm gonna reposition I also feel like I have to get in the shade. So I started this, and it was pretty chilly. Now it's gone. Okay, there we go. Put my hat on. So if you have any questions about your yoga practice, then you could email me at the club or become my Facebook friend, Beth Holland on Facebook, even though I know my last name is Beth Heisinga. But anyway, I'm sending you out a lot of love right now because life has been just a real moving target. And let's find our green zone for a moment. Feel nice, lengthened, supported spine. Good. And then we're going to question where the head is perched on top of the spine. It's very, common to have the head come forward because it's heavy, right? So we're going to take the back of one hand, the fingertips, the peace fingers, put it right in your occipital ridge there, right? And then slide, like you're sliding across the table, slide back. Good. Now, when you slide back this time, I want you to keep that and let your arms release. Good. We're gonna let our shoulders creep up and then drop. So find your nice, lifted, effortless, floaty position with the ball of your head perched on top of the barrel of your rib cage, perched on top of the bowl of your pelvis. We're gonna close our eyes and focus on our exhales and let's take in 6 breaths and also release 6 breaths. So we're gonna feel the cycle of the breath. Letting go. Feel free to close your eyes. So I'm halfway there. Hey, good job. I'm gonna check on the time a second. And we're gonna prepare for some, oh boy, it's already been quite a long time. So what we're gonna do, okay. I'm going to take us down for a couple of seated twists, a line twist, and then we'll come into Shavasana. And if you'd like to stay in Shavasana with me, then I'll play a Tibetan bowl at the end, okay? And you know, if you're had your practice and you wanna do your own Shavasana, then I'll see you later. Okay, so I'm gonna put this, let's see. Yeah, let's just. All right, that works. We're gonna bring one knee up. I'm gonna just see if I can. Sorry, you guys, I'm kind of new to this recording yoga classes stuff. Okay. Okay. One foot. So the other leg is nice and long. Breathe in. Nice tall spine. We're going to take our elbow and bring it across. And, ooh, nice twist. Nice activity for the mid-back. And let's unwind from that. And we'll go to the other side. Sit up nice and tall. Make sure that you can just see my toes are super active. Plant down the ball of your foot. Twist around, bring the elbow. Ah. And come back around. Take both knees over to one side. We're going to take our hand and place it, the back of the hand, and then we're going to turn away and keep our chin nice and level to the floor. Good. Breathe in. Breathe out. And staying where you are, just bring the chin over. Good. And then gently come to center and the other side. Hand comes good. Twist around. And then just the face comes over like you're trying to look at one of your feet. Good. And then let's come back to center. We'll come down onto the ground and do whatever twist on the floor feels good. Maybe cross one leg. And come back to center. Cross the other leg over. Drop it down. Come back to center. And then let's rock up to sitting. And we're going to come in Shavasana. Okay? So thank you again for joining me for this practice today. And my name is Beth. And I'm Beth Holland on Facebook. I'm Beth Huizinga on KQED. I'm an announcer operator there. And well, I just mentioned that because we do want to have, I think it's very trusted information. We just had a 2-day pledge drive. If you feel like you want to support that flagship NPR station in San Francisco, then by all means, I encourage you to do that. I have worked there for 20 years now, and it's a big part of my life. And I have to say that when I'm working, I do use my yoga and my breathing to help me. So I think that a yoga practice is really a great bunch of tools to have in your toolbox to help you with your life. I think it's incredibly useful, and I find it infinitely interesting as well. So I really encourage you to also go deeply into your practice for what helps you, to what helps you be a calm person who can feel feelings and be authentic and stay afloat really during this time of really any time in life, right? There's always been a lot of challenges in our lives. So I'm going to support my hands underneath my knees. Lift up nice and tall, feel the heart expand, and then we're going to exhale into Shavasana. Cut the lizard, feed the mouse, embrace the monkey. Come to a comfortable seated position, and we'll just end our practice today with the sound of Om. One Om, three sounds rolled into one, the Ah, the O, and the Mm, on an exhale. Taking in a mighty inhale together. Namaste, everybody. Thank you so much. I hope to see you again soon. Bye.